happy. Sounds good. We're getting ready to go into the music break. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this is a good friend of the network and good friend of the show, Renegade, who's has put out some nice tracks, got some good listens. Go check them out on all streaming platforms available. This right here is Money Convo. We'll be back in 4 minutes and 40 seconds with XFL, DC Defenders, and boxing in the second hour of Sports on the Hill podcast on True Radio Network. Be sure to call in on the True Radio Network hotline 347-884-9299, and we'll be back.
I'm waiting, I'm waiting.
That's right, we're back. Excuse me. That was Renegade Money Convo. Go check it out. You can download it on all the streaming platforms: Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio. It's all out there. Go check it out. Be on the lookout. He's one of the hottest DMV artists out there. He's been all over LA, Texas. Be on the lookout for him. We got some more hot tracks dropping soon from him and some other artists that we are hooked up with. If you got a chance to check out the At the Bar Radio yesterday, we had Ghetto Ghost on there live talking about his career, dropped a couple of his tracks, and told him what he got going on. So be on the lookout. We got some good things going on with Sports on the Hill podcast and True Radio Network. But now we're here to talk XFL and the DC Defenders, and their 2-0 start with impressive 3 phases of the game and doing the damn thing with a young quarterback that's making things happen. And give a quick scoring update on the Cowboys game. They were down 3-0. I know I'm a little bit behind Rob. He was probably going to do a scoring break when he came on, but just got a goal. I believe it's by TJ Oshie, making it now 3-1. Cap still down, trying to get back in this game and force overtime, at least get a point to end this road trip. But getting back to the XFL, if you're checking out the live feed that I'm streaming right now, I have this standings. Like I mentioned, the Defenders are 2-0 with 2 very impressive performances. And as I was mentioning, all 3 phases. Offense, Cardale Jones throwing the ball very well. I mentioned last week he looked a little rusty coming out the gate, but definitely got better in the second half. This game came out the gate looking sharp, got the team an early lead, gave the defense a chance to dictate the pace of the game, and played the hell of a game on offense. The running game is still figuring itself out. They had 28 rushes, 408 yards, a little bit under 4 yards a carry, but hey, it was effective enough to get the job done, to keep New York's defense honest, and their offense was just, in some phases, unstoppable. They were getting the job done. They were moving the chains. They were 50% on third down conversions, 9 for 18, had 16 first downs, 364 yards total. Cardale Jones had 276 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and interception. On an unfortunate 50-50 ball, he should have, threw it out of bounds, which he was trying to do, but he didn't put enough on it, and unfortunately gave an interception up, but it didn't cause a lead to any point. So, that's always a good thing. As I mentioned, the running game, Pumphrey, who looked like he had a little bit to go, out there, but that New York front line is very big and was containing for the most part, but he had 12 carries for 52 yards, long run of 23, and Redskins fans know this name from a few years back in preseason. Rashad Ross, he's been, the last 2 weeks, he's averaged over 90 yards receiving. He had 4 catches for 95 yards with a long of 40 with a 23.8 yard average. And Tompkins had 6 catches for 92 yards, 15.3 yard average. 34 yards was his long, and he had a touchdown. And Eli Rogers, who unfortunately lost his mom, I believe, a few days before, who opted to play the game instead of going home for the funeral. He had a good game. He actually was sparking the offense on that first quarter. They were feeding him the ball. He ended up with 5 catches for 49 yards, and 25 was a long for him with a 9.8 yard average. So the offense played pretty well. The defense was, in my opinion, outstanding. 3 sacks, 3 forced turnovers. Only gave up a total of 137 yards. Pick 6 for the second week in a row. Getting pressure on the quarterback, making solid tackles. When they get to the quarterback, they're getting them down. They're constantly getting pressure on the quarterback. There's no give up in this team on the defense. They swarm, they tackle, and they execute. And they've been playing with the lead for the most part, and that's been playing in their favor because they've been able to get pass rush on the opposing team. And special teams, last week we saw a punt block for a touchdown. This week we saw more solid coverage. We saw some opportunities on punts, returns where they got a couple of yards to give the team better field position, and it's just good to see quality football in DC, which we haven't seen in a while. Before I get past it to Robbie, I'm gonna pose this question. I've been noticing some. I'm not going to say hate, but some spitefulness from some Redskins fans because some of the Defenders fans are, kind of saying the same thing about, finally having some quality football in the area, since fans of the Redskins haven't had that in a while. And do you think if the Defenders continue on this run and say they mess around and win the XFL championship, which they are favored to do you think there will be some animosity or some spitefulness from Redskins fans toward Defenders fans?
Potentially. I got some good news. The Capitals actually just scored a goal. I think it actually is it Obi's goal? It might be. They were showing the replay right now. So John Carlson passes down low. Verona passes in the middle. No, it's TJ Oshie. So I don't know if Obi's always the first to bench. It's usually the person who scores. So it's very hard to know. But yeah, TJ Oshie in the slot. Great pass. I love this sort of bump set to get him going. Ovechkin kind of becomes the decoy, if you will. Teams that are playing, a box and one style of penalty kill. Makes it 3-2 with 9:14 left. So it's going to be an interesting. The Caps are the best comeback team in the NHL. Let's see if they can add one more to it tonight. But overall, with your question about Redskins fans, actually, it's funny that Gil, whose birthday that I gave a shout out to earlier, happy birthday again, Gil. He was actually made a quote about the Caps up and down are still better than the Redskins. And so I mean, I think people have poked fun at them regardless of whether the team is Defenders fans or whatever. And I can understand why Redskins fans get a little bit frustrated at that. But also they need to put a better product on the field. Like, you can't become the fourth or fifth best team in terms of winning percentage in the area and expect to still dominate and be the number one team in people's hearts. Especially 20 years later. I mean, I went back just recently and watched some of those previous Super Bowls, and they're great. I still love the Redskins, but I can't say that I rank them right now above the Nationals. And right now, the Defenders are putting a great product onto the field. So it's tough for me to basically be like, oh no, I can't give love to this new team because of a love of an older team or whatever. But I can understand why the people who are fans of a team that have been around much more than 2 weeks would take umbrage with people talking smack about them. But also they need to not put themselves in that situation as well. So. But let's bring in some of the other people in our roundtable. I was just fixing some edits of a share that I did earlier where I had to type up. But I just finished that. So now I'll bring back in Brian. So hold on, let me also bring in Ken, DC People Champ, and Arun back to the broadcast as well. So I'm going to start off with Ken. What are your thoughts as a Redskins fan of some of the Redskins fans not necessarily loving the Defenders right away? They need to shut up. Period. Shut up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. It's like, what the... Listen. These Defenders in 2 weeks have done so much more than the Redskins have done as a team on the field in probably like 3 or 4 seasons. This week alone, they put up the first shutout in XFL, in the reboot of the XFL. The first shutout. And Redskins fans complain, I hate some of these people, man. They need to shut up. That's all I got to say. They need to just shut the fuck up, period. Yeah, I agree. It's frustrating. Like, enjoy new football. We get football in this time between football. Like, why? And they're playing well. They're living up to their name, as we just talked about the Defenders. And, 6 takeaways over the first 2 weeks. 2 touchdowns off of takeaways. Playing well in all facets. Everyone's rankings has our quarterback is the #1 quarterback in the league. Let's enjoy some good football. Like, why do fans have to put other fans down, especially ones that have the DMV? We should feel lucky. There's only 8 teams. The Defenders is one in DC. I know a lot of cities are like, man, we wish that we had a team, like, and not especially one that is good. Like, it's frustrating. But I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. I've been a DC fan, for all my life, and Redskins fans have been pretty bad the last 20 years. Whenever something good happens for any of the teams in the area, to find a way to put some hate on it. What are some of your quick thoughts on it?
Yeah, I guess I haven't encountered these Redskins fans who are against the Defenders. I think you can be for both of them, and also the Redskins. I think a part of it why the crowd atmosphere is better at the game. Partially, the tickets are cheaper. It's a new, exciting team, and I also just Audi Field in general is just easier and a better location and better stadium than FedEx just to go to for a crowd experience because you just get closer look at the game. When me and Brian, Tim, and my sister went to this game, so it was pretty good seeing the XFL up in person. Yeah, the quality of the NFL is definitely a lot better, but I feel like the crowd was really into the game. They're booing the refs and they're random fans making a beer snake out of empty beer plastic cups.
Yeah.
There's a Tim Tebow entourage of fans with 4 different fans wearing Tim Tebow jerseys of all his NFL teams and including his college teams. So it's just overall really good atmosphere, and it was a fun game to go to, and I don't think Redskins fans should be complaining. I think it's just it's fun to watch football in the winter. It's I guess as fun as it's going to last. We'll see. Hopefully this XFL will keep on building momentum because I enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, let's talk about that experience just a little bit because I got Brian here, who's a fan of the New York Guardians, and so I'm curious as a fan of the opposing team, but someone who likes Audi Field, and I definitely like the fact that even 15,000, which was less than 17,000 the week before, but not a huge drop off. So 15,000 out of 20,000 looks a lot better than 20,000 or even 30,000 or a 90,000 person stadium. What are some of your thoughts on going to your first experience in the XFL?
Well, first off, Arun, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I had a great time. Secondly, I didn't really know what to expect because obviously I'd never been to an XFL game, but I really think the smaller stadium definitely helps the atmosphere. I think Audi Field is it's a much better choice for this than, say, doing it at FedEx Field or somewhere even bigger than this. I think Audi Field is perfect for this. And, having gone there to DC United games in the past, I know that stadium can get very rowdy, and Defender fans were great. Even though I did admittedly root for the other team, I have to say I was really impressed with Defender fans and how great they were and how loud they were. I wasn't a big fan of when they chanted "New York sucks," but other than that, I think that they have a great atmosphere, and I think it's just going to keep growing here.
You wear a Yankees hat or any?
I did wear a Yankees hat. Yeah, I did wear a Yankees hat, and I actually want to point out that I saw a lot of people just wearing DC sports gear of any team. I saw a lot of Capital stuff, Redskins stuff, National stuff. I thought it was really interesting. Just the type of people that were at these games. It was awesome.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Caps here too, and that made me happy, and a lot of Redskins and other stuff. And just rocking the red in whatever team color it is, just cool. I mean, that's the way that we should be doing it. And by the way, the Caps are having a furious the shooting gallery here. There's about 6 minutes left in this live game. Vegas is up by 1. Again, 6 minutes left, and the scoring chances this period are 7-2 Washington. So they definitely come alive. We were talking about in Hockey Talk earlier. I'm still wearing my Caps Road gear, but I'm happy to hear that they were respectful to you as an opposing fan.
I didn't have any Guardians gear. It might have been different if I had Guardians gear.
But did you see any?
I did know a couple of New York fans, but I didn't see DC fans going after that. They were respectful.
Yeah, that's great. That's what I want to see. Real quickly, I just wanted to break down. I was going to pull them up on my live screen. The way that the scoring went down, we can try to break it down real quickly. Jones had a short pass for 13 yards. That was the first touchdown. And then there was two field quarter by the defenders, and then there was another touch, or an interception for a touchdown in the third quarter, and then in the fourth quarter there was a field goal, and then at the end there was a 6-yard touchdown, and in that one they actually went for the defenders' first opportunity at a 3-point conversion, which they failed. So actually all of their extra point tries they failed, and that's how you get to 27-0. I just wanted to give people at least a little sense of how the scoring broke down in this game. Overall, there's some interesting games this week. The Dragons, who the defenders beat in week 1, beat the Vipers. It kind of proves the Vipers are, I think, not very good. So that was the first game in Seattle. The LA Wildcats were able to get a 3-point conversion, the first team to do so in the XFL, but came a little short of the Dallas Renegade in that game. The Battlehawks versus the Roughnecks, that was actually a really close game, back and forth at the end, but Houston was able to pull away with a victory in that one. Setting up for week 3 matchup, the Roughnecks go to Tampa Bay. I would expect that's going to be a blowout. The Roughnecks are one of the best teams in the XFL, and Tampa Bay looks like one of the worst. We're interested to see how they do at home. That game is at 2 o'clock on ABC next week, and then the 5 o'clock on Fox on Saturday is the Dallas Renegades at the Seattle Dragons. So that should be an interesting matchup as well. Both of those teams, I believe, have 1 win and 1 loss. And then the next game is going to be on Sunday. I think it's a 3 o'clock start. It's a little bit of a different time now. It's like ESPN. That's Brian Guardians playing the Battlehawks. That'll be an Eastern Conference matchup. That will be interesting since both teams are 1-1. So that'll be kind of St. Louis too. Yeah, first game in St. Louis, and I just think that'll be a really good early matchup because they're the top 2 teams from each side of the bracket make it to the playoffs. So wins against common opponents, I'm sure, will be a big factor. And then the last game of the week will be that 6 o'clock game on Sunday on FS1. So it'll be their first not broadcast television game, but the defenders will go to the Wildcats for that matchup. Carol, I don't know if you've seen any of the other games or any of the thoughts of some of the other teams. Any matchups stand out to you or anything that you've seen so far in the first 2 weeks of the XFL?
No, I haven't really had a chance to focus on the other teams. I've been following the defenders and, getting acclimated with this team, being that we're trying to get the press credentials, which we're still working on. When we get a chance to get down there, we'll be streaming live. The next 2 weeks they're on the road, so we're hoping when they come back from their next 2 weeks, we can hopefully be down there broadcasting live. But I'm just impressed with the. You were talking earlier about the defense. It's always easier for a defense to come together because you're basically reacting to what the other team is doing. So it's easier for the defense to come together and, look unstoppable the way this team is now. I'm interested to see how it's going to go down the line when other teams' offenses are going to start to click. We were talking about the horrible quarterback play of the league so far. There's been some good and a lot bad. But, it's going to take offenses a little while to get it together, being especially that they had a limited preseason / off season with the league coming together. I believe they had a month to practice and train and get, together before the season started. So it's going to take a little while for the offense to get together. I'm liking what I see from the DC offense. Like I mentioned, Jones, he looked very good on Saturday, and he is I know it's only week 2, but they're talking about he's the leading MVP candidate or whatever. But he definitely looked quality out there, made some good plays, made some good decisions. And if this team continues playing like that, I know they get a $10,000 bonus for each win. They definitely trying to collect that $100,000 and go undefeated.
One note though, guys, is that Cardinal Jones, and someone posted this on social media, Cardinal Jones has never lost as a starting quarterback. He's 13-0 through college and pros. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I think I did hear someone mention that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I hope that continues. So that'll be good. I'm playing up a couple of stats for people to take a quick screenshot of if they want to go back and check them out, courtesy of the XFL's website, which they're actually a really good website. They got a lot of great stats on there. I know that Carol went through some of them early on, but some of these are a little deep dive into that. So I have those on screen. For just a couple minutes, I want to get Arun's take of his game day experience. Arun, what were some of the things that you liked the most of going to the game?
I like really the quality of the defenders' defense during the game. Like the fans were really into the defense. They were chanting it during third downs, and as others have mentioned, it was the first shutout in XFL history. Which at least I don't know about XFL 1.0, but this XFL there was a shutout so far this season. I got to shout out my sister's favorite player, DeAndre Hopkins. Apparently, he had 6 catches and 92 yards and a touchdown. And it was pretty funny. And watching the highlights after the game was pretty good. Seeing Matt McGloin criticize the play calling of the head coach, kind of threw a grenade to the whole team. And then in the second half, he threw like a terrible pick six. Like I don't know, like there were 2 defenders that were about to sack him. He was staring down the receiver, and if that one defender didn't intercept the pass for a touchdown, the other defender would have intercepted the pass, though, and that resulted in McGloin's benching. And the Guardians didn't seem that far off if they were able to put a couple of offensive drives together, but the defenders' defense just dominated, and overall, really good win for DC. And even though the weather was really cold, it was still a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, one thing I do want to talk about, so I went back and I watched it with Zach. He loves watching football, so I DVR all the games to watch on repeat, and we watch a lot of Defenders games that way. So it's going back and listening to Pat Hamilton do the plays and be able to call it is really interesting. I also thought it was interesting because you get a lot of real-time interviews with coaches and players right after they do something great or have a mistake. And after the benching of the New York Guardians quarterback, he definitely threw the team under the bus again. So that was definitely difficult. So real quickly, the net is empty for the Capitals, and there was 3 opportunities there, I believe, for Vegas to score. But Caps came back and actually played some really good defense to prevent that. They're trying to get into the zone to try to get one last fury comeback. There's 43 seconds left in the game. They're one of the best 6-on-5 teams in the league. They're trying to get another goal here. 35 seconds left. They try to get it out of the zone. The Caps are able to keep it in. It's deflected on net. 2 whacks at it, but Fleury's able to make the save. 25 seconds left. They're passing it down low. Carlson throws it on net. It's deflected up and off the ice. There's going to be 17.4 seconds left. The face-off in the Vegas defensive zone. So let's see if the Caps are able to find a way here to come away with the victory. Big goalie skills by Alexander Ovechkin there with a kick-out save, or at least an attempt at it. Exactly how it was. So it's a big, they called a timeout, so they're going to try to draw something up here. But Champ Wall, they draw up their last play. What are some of your thoughts on the second week matchup?
I gotta say that I love the fact that it's funny. In week 1, I put up a post on Facebook and said, "You can't be called the defenders if you can't play defense." And then these Bama's turned around and started playing defense. A pick 6 last week, a pick 6 this week, shutting out a team that won
Vegas, but a close game, it could come back at tempo. The Capitals, they really try to pour it on. But it's a little bit of a similar thing to what we were talking about earlier, where they can't rely on trying to come back in the third all the time. They can be the best comeback team, and they still can't do it every week. And so that's a little disappointing. And I agree. To go back to your statement about the mom, I can't believe he played, but obviously this means so much to him, and I'm sure that he had many conversations with her in the past that he has an opportunity to do what he loves and put some film on the tape. And I was talking about this on Rev T's show earlier. They don't make that much money. They make a certain amount of money. There's a maximum they can make, and a lot of the money to get to the maximum, they have to do through incentives, especially game day bonus incentives. And so, unfortunately, they probably only make $20,000 or $30,000 a season outside of those bonuses. So, well, it's 50 total, but I think that's including bonuses. So, well, that's what at least Rev T was saying, that there was only 20 or 30 guaranteed, and then you can get $2,000 for every win, plus for scoring touchdowns and sacks and things like that. So, not all of it's guaranteed money. So, which I can understand because they don't know how long the league is going to last for. Like, it's going to, hopefully with these great contracts with ESPN and Fox, hopefully they'll have enough money to last the full 2 years that is part of this initial contract. And there's already a lot of teams that want to be a part of the expansion. I hope they don't expand too quickly, too fast. They do this controlled, but at least I'm happy with the general sense that people seem to be excited about the product. The only thing people have trouble with is the quarterback tonight, but that can hopefully improve over time. But overall, people seem to really enjoy it if they give it a chance. I'm happy that a lot of other people are covering it. I'm actually happy that a lot of mainstream media in the DC area, like the Post, is covering it, and I've heard other podcasts cover it too. So I know that we were one of the very few to cover the Valor, but for us to succeed as a franchise and as the XFL as a whole, you need more coverage. And so it's one of those things that all the coverage doesn't come until you do well. So I'm hoping that us doing well and this initial surge of coverage, I hope that can continue. Carol, any thoughts on the coverage or also the game day experience from the fans' point of view, especially with being able to listen to some of the play calling?
I mean, it's definitely a quality product. I mean, like I mentioned last week, the difference from the first XFL and the current reboot is that they have the backing of the NFL and not trying to go at the NFL as competition. The product on the field to me is just as quality as the NFL. I like some of the rule tweaks that they have with, they have the 1 foot for completion. You don't have all the controversy with 2 feet and the football move and all of that stuff. With the kickoff, I like that. With the 3-point, 2-point, 1 point. Now, if it's a 9-point game, it's still 1 possession. I like the whole aspect. The live hot mics. We heard the F-bomb a couple of times the first week. Didn't hear it as much this time, so I think they did take the advice of the 5-second buffer to be able to mute out some things. But in my opinion, it's been a long time coming for a football league besides the NFL, because there is no other developmental league for football. Every other sport has a minor league system. And I mentioned yesterday on the show I did yesterday, only 10% of NCAA players make the pros. So most of these kids that, got these scholarships and, didn't necessarily go to class and were getting pushed by the coaches to, practice and play, and that's all you worry about, they really don't have anywhere else to go. I mean, you got the CFL, you had the Arena Football League, who just went out of business, you had the AAFL, which was only around for barely a season. So it's good that they finally have another league that they can, some of these athletes that didn't get a shot to make it at the NFL has a shot at the XFL, and the money's going to come, because once the product is quality, you don't have any fluke type stuff going on, and it's basically still football just with a couple of tweaks. I think the league is going to do fine, especially with the financial backing and sponsorships that they have, the commercial they're putting out, the commentators that they have. I think this definitely going to be something that sticks around. At least I'm hoping, and I feel that they will.
Yeah, I think the quality is good enough. One thing I do want to do a point of clarification on, So the NFL itself doesn't have direct ties to the XFL, but through their media ties, the ESPN and Fox, they promote both of them, and they promote both of them to the similar markets, which is very helpful. But directly, the XFL and the NFL have no linkage. The players can't play from one or the other, and the players can't even talk to the other teams until their contract is over. So, but what is good is they play on the off season in a way that their contract is done before the NFL contracts really begin, and so there's an opportunity for them to at least try out in spring training. Now, Rev T today did make the point they will be beat up after a whole season, and then they go into training against people that haven't played for months. I don't know if they'll necessarily beat out those people, but at least there's an opportunity, and I think to development some of these players, and also to maybe get 2 to 3% more. If it's only 10% before make it into the pros, maybe we can get it to 13% or 15%. It's not a huge difference probably, but ultimately people get jobs, and the revenue that can come from these teams, the people that are even the referees, all the way down to that, the officials, they're all college referees and officials that get an opportunity to have a job during the off months as well. So I think that's a really great thing overall. So, Champ, I promised you an opportunity at the very end of the show to plug the things going on in the wrestling world. Why don't you give a quick little shout-out before I let you go tonight?
Yes, definitely tune into the No Sauce podcast this coming Friday. Yes, there were actually 2 independent promotions that held shows on the same night this past weekend. I actually went to one by Fight Club Pro Wrestling and actually got a picture with a current champion of a major promotion, which is awesome. I'm going to talk about that, as well as I'm going to talk about NXT TakeOver Portland, which took place on Sunday night, and the week that was in wrestling. And one other point I wanted to make is I wanted to give a shout out to Marcin Gortat, who announced his retirement this week after 15 seasons in the league. He was a big part of the Wizards during a good run that they had the last couple of years. So shout out to Marcin Gortat, but definitely tune in to the No Spots podcast this Friday. I'm talking about independent wrestling and Major League Pro Wrestling.
That's awesome, Ken. Well, I appreciate it. I know how big you are in the independent circuit and how big a fan you are. So I'm happy that you and Rev T and a lot of other people are bringing a little bit of light into some of the local wrestling that's in the DC area that not everyone talks about. So we really appreciate it, and it's a good shout out to the Polish Hammer, Gortat. I actually have his T-shirt. He's only one of 3 Wizard shirts that I have. So I love the number 13. It's my wife's favorite number. I was a big fan of the Polish Hammer. So shout out to him on retirement. And Ken, we'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
All right, Arun, I'll let you get your final shout-outs and any thoughts that you have remaining, either going to the game or anything else that you want to talk about.
Going to the game was also fun. The fans are chanting to go for 3. Maybe one day we'll see a 3-point conversion. Then, it's interesting, Cardell Jones, he could continue. He could be the MVP. Arbel Nelson of the Valor, he was the Reno Gold Most Valuable Player in 2018 when they won, so that'll be good. And another shout-out to a DC quarterback whose birthday was last week. He was undefeated in 2019. He played for the Redskins. RG3, February 12th, turned 30. Shout out to him. And thanks for having me on.
As always, the RG3 reference. Hey.
At least he's kept it consistent through 4, almost 5 seasons. So it's important. Consistency is key. Thank you, Arun. Thank you for taking Tim and Brian, and I'm happy that Mike and you and all of you guys got to enjoy a great game. I'm sorry, Brian, about your DC defenders. I'll let you give one last New York Guardians.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry that they beat the. I'm sorry, was what I meant to say. But so you can give a little shout out to your teams or anything.
I just want to say the Astros are still cheaters. The commissioner is a fraud. He's got to do something about this because the Astros cannot get away with this. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Let's go Yankees, Knicks, Giants, Rangers, and New York Guardians. All I have to say.
I swear y'all need to give it a rest. I swear y'all New York fans need to give it a rest. All the luxury taxes, all the super teams y'all had, and all of the questionable things that's gone on in Yankees victories. The fact that y'all are belly aching 2 years after, and I will say this again. Stealing signs has been a part of baseball from day one. The fact that technology got involved this time does not make it any different. It does not mean the team should get stripped of a title. Leave it alone. Move on. Y'all got Garrett Cole. Y'all got a quality team. Go out there and win it and stop whining because y'all haven't won in over a decade. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm tired of all of these Yankees fans whining about this, man. Let it go.
But it's not just the Yankees fans, Carol. I hear fans across the board that are angry.
Of course they're going to be angry because they're doing it as a dog and pony show. Yeah, we're going to find a team. Yeah, we're going to fire the manager. But are they going to strip the title? No. So let it go. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. That's true.
Jesus.
At the same time, I think that the commissioner has made some bad moves the last couple of weeks, and he's even potentially expanding playoffs. It's just, I'm not a big fan.
I think they're smoking crack on that.
I
think they're smoking crack on this, man. I don't even know where that came from. I feel like the postseason is kind of the way it is. I don't know where they came from with that.
I agree. I agree. I agree on that. Yeah. So it's so frustrating for a lot of reasons, but at the same time, I'll let you get to your boxing talk, and we'll try to save it for another day. But people are going to get thrown at, and I think they kind of deserve it because I think it's ridiculous to give immunity to these players, and they have zero repercussions for it. So they get to tell the truth, and then they claim that there's no budget. So they're like, well, if we told the truth about the other thing, we can't be lying now because immunity means we're always telling the truth, right? That doesn't actually work that way. So everybody's handling this poorly. The Astros are handling this poorly. Oh, yeah. They're handling so horribly. Yeah, the Astros are the worst.
Well,
the version of apology.
I'll let you guys discuss this offline while me and Paul talk about some boxing because I can tell y'all going to be talking about this for a while. I'm done with it. Like I say, sign stealing has been a part of baseball for a while, for a long while. I'm not really tripping off of it. The Nationals used it against them with Strasburg and that performance where they knew when he was tipping his pitches, they said they used it against them. So instead of whining about it, if you know the team is doing it, use it against them, beat that ass, get a title, raise a championship. Other than that, nothing you can do about it except for whine, which is what everything is going on right now.
We'll find out from here, but we'll let you talk about your boxing with Paul. Give Paul a shout out from me, and we appreciate the time as always. And I'm gonna stop my live stream right here.
All right, that's a bet. I'm about to switch up the graphics on my feed right now to get some boxing content. Get ready to bring in Paul, the boxing guy. So I know he's been patiently waiting on the line on hold if one of his kids ain't already took him out. Paul, how you doing tonight, man? The kids ain't take you out for that long being on hold, man.
Hey, Carol, I can't let him beat me, man. Minute to minute, I'm on alert. Minute to minute, keep the head on the football.
Yeah, you got to, man. The Army will take you out quick, man. Take you out quick. But let's get to the haps of it because we know what's going on this weekend with Wilder Fury 2. What's been going on in the past couple of weeks that we've missed since the last time we had you on, brother?
Yes, sir. Well, real quick, I just want to say, hey, Nationals won. I don't care what's going on out there with Houston. So I ain't losing no sleep over what they're doing. But it's been a somewhat active period. I mean, you have a lot of younger guys that's been in action. Ryan Garcia, he picked up a huge one-punch knockout in the first round against Francisco Fonseca. I think I said that right. But it was devastating left hook, man. Lead left hook counter, caught him coming in, put him out. And, Ryan Garcia is the guy that we've been talking about on here since he made maybe his pro debut in his second fight, along with the other guy, Virgil Ortiz. And he's definitely showing that, a lot of people criticize him that he ain't fought nobody. But, you name me a fighter that has fought world champions besides Vasily Lomachenko in their first 10 fights. Everybody thinks that you're supposed to fight, go for the belt immediately when you turn pro. It's like, the dude is like 20. Give him some time, man. Let him develop. And
he's back in action. He lost to Lomachenko about a year ago. He gave him a good fight though, knocked Lomachenko down, but he's back. He was back in action and he won his bout against Carlos Morales. He's looking to get a fight with Ryan Garcia in July. Kell Brook was back in action. He won against Mark DeLuca. I like Kell Brook, but Kell Brook is damaged goods. He gave Errol Spence a hell of a fight a couple years back, but his face was broke up. But he was back in action. Gary Russell, DC's own Gary Russell Jr. Won his fight. I'm not even going to try to say this dude's name. I think he's from Thailand, so I can't speak that name. And Guillermo Rigondeaux was back in action. He's been coming back steadily since he lost to Lomachenko a couple years ago. He won against Liborio Solis. I think I said that right. But thing is this though, we got a big fight coming up this weekend. Big rematch, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. And I know everybody's waiting for that one. Before the first fight, Carol, we want to show. I was telling people, hey, don't look at Tyson Fury and think he's some fat bum because he don't look the part. That dude is swift. That dude got good hands, good boxing skills, good feet, good instincts, and he's gonna give him a run. And I predicted Fury was gonna win the first fight. Ended up being a controversial draw. But like I say, I think me and you, Carol, kind of have similar approaches to a lot of things. Everybody saying, oh, it was a robbery. I don't like to use that word. Ultimately, yeah, I thought Fury should have won, even with the 2 knockdowns. But guess what? If he wouldn't have got knocked down twice, he would have won. Wouldn't have been a draw. So if you want to win, don't get knocked down twice.
Pretty much.
Simple as that. So they're fighting again in their rematch. They're supposed to have 3. Joshua stepped in and said, hey, nah, y'all ain't going to do this 3 times and keep getting around me. So he threw a curveball in there and told Wilder, oh, you want to fight me for 50-50? You've been saying you're not doing the 60-40 split for all the time? Okay. So Joshua offered Wilder 50-50. Fight him after he fights Fury. No response yet. So we'll see where that goes. That's not ultimately up to Wilder. That's up to his camp. But, Carol, I'm looking forward to this fight, man. The last time I was on, I didn't give a prediction because I didn't want to, because this fight just feels strange to me. The first fight, I was confident. I said, I think Fury's going to win this. And Fury was confident. Fury showed everybody he had the ability. He came in motivated. I don't know about this fight, man. I just got a strange feeling that Fury's going to get knocked out. I really do. And that's not an indictment on Fury's boxing ability. He's obviously shown that he can handle Wilder, but Fury has periods when he kind of lapses in his judgment, or when he kind of gets, I don't want to say disinterested, I'll say distracted. And that's how he got knocked down twice by Wilder the first time. He's also kind of sounded some alarms when he said he may come in at 370. Why are you coming in at 370 though? He's a big guy, 6'9", but 370? That's almost back up to where he said he didn't want to be. 400 pounds. I'm sorry, not 370, 270. But that's still almost 300 pounds. That's a lot heavier than what he's supposed to be. So it's just a couple things that he's been saying that kind of make me feel like maybe he's, I'm not trying to be insensitive, maybe he's kind of backsliding a bit again in terms of his mental health. He said he only wants 3 more fights and he's going to retire. He's only 31. So he's been seeming kind of erratic, Carl. So I kind of feel like Wilder's going to win this fight by a knockout in like round 5. And it took a long time for me to come to that conclusion. I'll say this though. If Fury does come in and fight a good game plan like the first time, he should win on point. But he has to fight dirty. He has to tie Wilder up like he did Klitschko and frustrate Wilder. But at the same time, all he needs is that right hand one time. And one more thing, Carl, that makes me nervous about Fury is that he fired his trainer halfway through training camp. The same trainer that he's been with for a long time, the same trainer that got him back into the ring from almost 500 pounds and got him looking how he looked against Wilder the first time. He fired him midway through camp. So I don't really understand that move. It can't help you. Sometimes it's a little overrated on your trainer hurting you. A lot of times fighters fire their trainers and they like to blame their trainer for their lack of success. But at the same time though, he fought 2 nobodies since he lost to Wilder the first time. So yeah, I can't really say he's been busy. And then you fire your trainer, and then you coming in so heavy. I don't know, man. I really got some reservations about Fury this time, Carl.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing. I haven't been watching as closely as you have and know all the ins and outs, but I predicted yesterday on the show. I got a seventh round knockout by Wilder. You say fifth, I say seventh. I think Fury's gonna start out pretty good, but Wilder's gonna adjust from the first fight, and Fury's probably gonna throw some wrinkles in there, change up some things from the first time. But like you said, that right hand, Fury, like you say, sometimes loses his focus and wants to showboat and play to the crowd, especially depending on what the location is. So if he's not on point, he will get caught by that right hand. I feel like it's going to even be a KO or TKO in the seventh round to end this fight. And it's interesting with the Joshua Wilder situation. I told you when we first started talking about these two, when Joshua upset the world and won the belts, that I was a diehard Wilder fan. But over the past few years, with all the I know it's not all on him. It's promotion. It's the promotion team and all the playing back and forth and the money stuff. I want to see it because I just want to see it because it has to happen. And that's the one frustrating thing about boxing that turns off some of the boxing folks or fans is that you don't see the fights that you should see when you should see them, and because of all of the BS that's involved in the politics with it, just like going back to the Shane Mosley Floyd Mayweather, I felt like that fight should have been three years earlier than it was when Shane wasn't 38 and he was still had his speed, and I think that'd have been a better fight than what we saw that got put out there because of all of the promotional BS. So hopefully that doesn't happen with Wilder. Hopefully they can. He swallows his eats his words and gave him 50-50 so he has a chance to fight. If he doesn't, that's just another thing that makes me question, his heart in this game. I mean, you talked all that trash. Now he's giving you what you wanted. Why are you gonna, play games? I know it ain't all up to him, but it ain't a good look if you talked all the trash and he give you what you want and you still back down. That's just the way it looks to me.
No, I agree too. And even though it's not all on the fighter, at the same time, your agents, your promoters work for you.
Yeah.
So if you want the fight, you'll say, hey, make this fight happen. I'm taking 50-50. It's like sports and an agent, right? Football. Your agent works for you. If your agent thinks you're getting a bad deal, you can say, I don't care what you think. I'm signing this deal. So, this is sort of like Tucker. Another example was Tyson Lennox Lewis and Mayweather Pacquiao. The thing that I was afraid of was with Joshua and Wilder that I said this about Floyd and Pacquiao way back in the day, that they're not going to fight until one of them loses.
Yeah.
Pacquiao lost. And that's when they made it happen. And I thought the same thing with Joshua Wilder, but Joshua got his belt back. So he avenged that loss. So he's back the way he was.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we're seeing something similar with the whole Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence thing. And before that, it was Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. They just didn't want to let it happen. And the common denominator is TBC. I mean, I'm not trying to dog the promotion, but they really protect their fighters a lot from non-TBC opponents. They drive a hard bargain and they're not easy to work with. So I'm hoping that, Wilder could make the fight happen with Joshua and they'll get tired of all this back and forth. And we can see a fight happen when it means something, not say if Wilder loses and then he wants to come fight Joshua. At that point, nobody can.
Yeah, pretty
Wilder's
much.
like 34, So
yeah.
I'm with you. I'm right with you.
All right, well, we definitely going to be tuning in next week to get the results of this fight. You break it down for us. Next week we'll also be covering, as always, Capitals, Wizards, and XFL DC Defenders. So make sure you tune in. Paul, let the folks know where they can find you before we get out of here.
Yes, indeed. Find me on Instagram, Pugilist_HQ, PUGILIST_HQ, and then T from Charlotte, all one word on Instagram.
All right, bro. I appreciate it, man. We just taking the time to break it down. And I'll holler at you later on and catch you next week on the show, man.
Yes, sir. Great to be on, and I enjoyed hearing the back and forth about the baseball scandal.
Oh man, I'm so tired of hearing the folks whine about it. I'm like, come on. We see this in all sports. They enforce some rules, they don't. Like in football, they stick them on the gloves. Wide receivers still use it. Is it illegal? Yeah. Do anybody get penalized for it? No. Okay, let it go. It's not.
Ball and pine tar.
Yeah, come on now. People relax. They're not going to strip the title. Let it go. It's made to appease y'all. Now, if they go after the electronic strike zone and the overzealous umpires throwing players out, then yeah, I say, yeah, that's for the quality of baseball. But all of this whining back and forth talking about stripping the title and giving it to the, oh man, go eat a bag of baby dicks, man.
That the Red Sox got in trouble too a couple years ago for the eye watches. Just the Apple watches. It's like people forgot about that. Nobody's saying, "Oh, the Red Sox, they should give their World Series that they won a couple years ago back." They're not saying that.
Man, like I said, I don't even want to talk about it. It's ridiculous. But spring training right around the corner, so we'll be back to Nationals talk sooner than you know it. They actually are training with the Astros like they did last year. They share a facility, and it's interesting how that's going to go down because they play them first in spring training. But Paul, you have a good night. You got the 90-second window, and you have a good night. We holler later on, bro.
Yes, sir. You too. Great show.
All right, man. Appreciate it. All right, I'm about to get out of here. We're going to end the show with the track we played at the beginning, in the middle, and now at the end. Renegade, Money Convo. Check it out. Go check out SportsOTHP.com. Check out my YouTube channel. Check out the IG, SportsOTHP.com. Check it all out. We do it for y'all. DC Sports Out of Politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do.